The film critic Mark Kermode placed £5 bets on the winners of 5 major Oscar categories before the 1992 nominations had been announced. Why was he distraught when he discussed this some months later after all 5 bets had won? I'll say that again. The film critic Mark Kermode placed £5 bets on the winners of 5 major Oscar categories before the 1992 nominations had been announced. Why was he distraught when he discussed this some months later after all 5 bets had won?
Well, I'm thinking straight away that he is discussing it on a show with the person who was up for all 5 and didn't win. So is it one of those Oscar things where you've got like 2 movies that are like really going for all of the things, and he bet on, I don't even know what 1992 would have been. Pulp Fiction was 94, wasn't it?
Dances with Wolves, was that 91?
And then whoever the other one was on his radio show and were still quite sore about it.
What about if Mark Kermode himself was up for every single one of those awards?
Ooh.
And he was distraught to not win Best Actor, Best Actress,
because he was actually Best Supporting Male Actor in Michael Flatley's Blackbird.
Yeah. He swept the board.
Yes, yeah. You're right about part of that, Olaf, which is there was a time delay between the win and the discussion. He was actually on Danny Baker's show talking about it when he discussed it later.
So Danny Baker was up for all 5.
Did the films later turn out to be sort of evil?
Hang on, yeah. I remember that. Hitler, the good guy. I remember. That was it.
Hitler, the good guy. It was The Hangover, but with Mussolini, Hitler, and Stalin.
The films themselves actually don't matter.
Oh, well.
Why would you be gutted that you've won £12.90 times 5?
Yeah, so each bet would bring in about 25 quid. So it made about 120, 125 quid, more or less.
Was you talking to somebody about like betting and how unethical it is?
He would have had some qualms about that. He actually had a Methodist upbringing and was really not certain about gambling. He definitely wasn't used to betting. And that's important here.
So he was a Methodist upbringing.
The Methodist specifically isn't important, but like he was not used to going into a bookies and putting bets down.
So he didn't know that he could go back and get money. He just thought he'd go in, put the money on, and then was like, "Yay, I won."
He didn't know something.
He didn't know what like the way round the odds are. So he thought he'd won way more than he had. You know where it's supposed to be? It's 3-1. You put on £5, you get 15 back.
Yeah, they're about 5-1 on average.
But in 91, there's a film called Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis, where it's an action film where the plot of it revolves around illegal sports betting and like a cabal that are doing that. And he's like, and it's such a weird watch if you're from the UK, because the villain is someone who organises betting on sports, which is a cornerstone of the UK life.
And now a cornerstone of the US. Now they've legalised it. I remember an American friend telling me they were confused about a plot in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels because there's a plot in there about a betting shop, and they just assumed that the concept of a betting shop was illegal by definition. How could you have placed that bet more wisely?
Doing an accumulator.
That's the key word. Yes.
So he's gutted that he didn't put an accumulator on.
He did. Well, more than that.
He thought he had.
What might Danny Baker have told him about?
About the multiplier effect of an accumulator. Yeah,
could you talk me through the accumulator? Like, what is it?
Well, basically the winnings from one goes on to the next, and that goes on to the next, and then that goes... So it would be, he would win $1 million rather than...
He would have won £70,000, which, given, 1992 is now old enough that I think I kind of have to adjust that for inflation. That would be, decent low 6 figures these days if he had known the concept of an accumulator.
Yeah. He could have put a Heinz or one of those multiple bets that does the singles, the doubles. I don't know about the gambling.
A Heinz?
It's 57 different bets from 5, I think it's 5 selections.
Yeah.
I used to really like betting on horses.
Yes, Mark Kermode was so naive for betting that he went in, he placed 5 bets that he was sure were going to win. They did all win. And he made about 100 quid when he could have made 70,000.
That's gutting.
Well, it wasn't at the time. He was happy. He got his 100 quid in. And then he goes on Danny Baker's show after the Oscars ceremony. He says all his bets had won. And Baker says, "You did do an accumulator, didn't you?" And he replies, "What's an accumulator?"
What an idiot. And now we know that everything he said about films was said by an idiot. So anyone listening whose film's been torn to shreds
Michael
by this
Flatley,
man...
are you listening?
But I've got a great idea for a movie.
The Lateral book is out now. Just click on the link to get your copy.